AskReddit, which high school friend took a path you didn't expect? I knew a girl in high school who was very sweet but very shy. She had very poor eyesight, had some tough dental issues, was overweight, and lived with a foster family in a trailer park. She wasn't particularly close with anyone in school. I got the sense that she was just trying to make it through, head down, get it done. But she was always kind, and I would talk with her a bit here and there. Mostly she kept to herself, and seemed to want to just not be noticed at all. After high school, we lost touch. 20 years later, I get a Facebook request from someone with her name, but the picture looks nothing like her. Not even a vague resemblance. I accept because I'm curious. Well, it was indeed her. It turns out that she worked her way through Slash, paid for community college, ended up getting a good job with a family company, and worked her way up the ranks there. She saved all of her money. By her late 20s, she saved enough money and had good insurance for eye surgery and dental surgery. She also started really focusing on getting healthy. She said it all boosted her confidence so much that she started traveling around the country. During those travels, she ended up meeting a great guy. She and her husband have a nice family, good jobs, and live in an affluent community. She acknowledged that her early years were tough, and she had such low self-esteem that she had a tough time making friends. She thanked me for always being kind to her. She ended with, "I may have blossomed late, but it was worth the wait. I'm so happy for her. We keep in touch." There were two that really stand out. One of them was a girl who got in a fair amount of trouble. She skipped school, had a bad attitude, and was more interested in hanging out with friends than learning. She ended up becoming a lawyer and eventually became the assistant DA of a city with about 3 million people. The other was a nice guy, got along with most everyone. I even considered him a friend and hung out with him on occasion. He came from a great family, and while he didn't get the best grades, he was good at things, like fixing cars, so I assumed he would end up going into that field. Instead, he started a career in drinking. By the time he was 30 he had been in jail several times, in a rehab a couple of times, had been arrested numerous times, had 2 restraining orders on him from former girlfriends, and had burned so many bridges with his family they had given up on him. Now in his mid-40s, he still lives in that same town. He looks like he is in his 60s, is on disability, and likely doesn't have much of a future as he continues to drink himself away. Had a friend that was the weirdest guy I'd met. He'd often yell random stuff for no reason, do every kind of accent, and was just generally awkward around people. Saw him a few years after, and he was dressed to the nines, very clean cut, and socially well adjusted. Complete 180 from high school. Made me rethink all my life's choices up until that point, since I was not doing so hot in life. Edit. I'm loving all the people wondering if I'm talking about them or someone they know. I'd like to picture him dressed to the nines, clean cut, but still doing the same accents and weird stuff, but with a bunch of people around him laughing and loving it. Chillada who took a heck of a turn. She was an impressive drinker in high school. She kept it up through college. Got a job, didn't love it. She joined Alcoholics Anonymous. Met a guy. Older, had nice finances, estranged from his ex-wife, kids, no other family. They got married. A few months later, they're both drinking again. Within 2 years, he's dead. He left her everything. She is devastated. She goes back to AA. Met another guy. Apparently older men who are estranged from their families are super easy to find in AA. You got it. They're drinking. Next thing you know, he's dead. Left her everything. Now she's gone back to AA again. She has met the most wonderful man. It's a shame his kids won't speak to him and won't come to the wedding. It's next month. Our high school had a good mix of preppy kids and kids from, to put it lightly, rough histories. One thing I really admire about my school, in retrospect, never thought about it at the time, was how little we let socioeconomic status affect our interactions. I've mentioned it before, but of my core friend group of 6 guys, 3 have been to prison, 2 are still there, one's a doctor, one's an engineer, one was an ambassador's aide, but is currently a consular, running a consulate. He, along with one of the guys in prison, did not end up where I expected. The guy who ended up in prison was always a bit of a jerk. He wasn't a dumb guy, but he did a lot of dumb things. So I guess it shouldn't surprise me. But still, he came from a well-to-do family, did well in school, just had a propensity for acting out. Anyway, he dropped out of college, was working in a grocery store. There was a domestic dispute with his girlfriend. I had never known him to be the type to hit a woman, but he was a fighter, so I don't totally doubt it, even though he swears he never laid a hand on her. But yeah, had plenty of opportunity for a good life. Beat his girlfriend. Is currently in prison. The other guy, I couldn't be more proud of. His dad was a gangbanger who spent most of his time in prison. When we were juniors in high school, his father was shot in a drive-by and nearly died. The shooting crippled his dad, who to this day is in a wheelchair. His mother didn't speak English and only held down a menial maid job. Not something to support 3 kids. Unsurprisingly, he didn't like his home life. He crashed at our houses a lot. He got into college and moved away, and I didn't hear from him for 5 years. I heard from him again when he proposed to his girlfriend, his high school sweetheart. He wanted me to come to the wedding, but he also wanted to hang out before then. We got dinner and he talked about how he got a job at an embassy. We kept in touch after that. He got promoted to ambassador's aide, and now he's running a consulate. We are still youngish too. I think he's still got a bright future ahead of him. Couldn't be more proud of my friend. Elizabeth, the hardcore party chick. She was the brilliant and quietly rebellious type. She was pulling and getting away with stuff that most of the guys branded as troublemakers in school could only dream of, because she had the sense and savvy to not show off to the world. She wasn't doing stuff for the attention. She was just doing it because that's what she wanted to do. So smoking, heavy drinking, some drugs, staying out all night, whatever. She could outdo anyone else. Anyway, a little over 10 years later I caught up with her and found out she was a triathlete and overall health nut. Friend I'd known since freshman year, 9th grade, of high school. Home life wasn't stellar. Abusive step-parent, control freak mom, etc. Joined the Marines to escape. Met someone, got married, had like 4 kids, and was expelled from service for medical reasons. Got divorced, dad got full custody, so she moved back home and bounced around in a travel trailer with a younger boyfriend who stole his boss's business credit card before they bounced to Lord knows where. Last time she surfaced, it was on Facebook, and she was selling their wedding rings he purchased using the stolen credit card. It's a real shame how things went. She'd done well in the Marines and even in the early years of her marriage. Not sure what the tipping point was. She was furious about losing custody, but she wanted to uproot 4 kids from their home, school, friends and dad's side of family, to bounce around in a 13-foot travel trailer living off her $650 in disability. She absolutely refused to acknowledge how horrible that would have been for them. My best friend from middle school onward, not the hangout everyday type, but more the always there when you need him type. We've been out of high school 7 years now, and we are still in contact. I'm set to be his best man later this year. This guy was the smart, kinda dweeby type, not an insult in the slightest. I was the exact same way, maybe not as smart, but you get the point. He kept to himself, unless you were in his circle, kept quiet even if you were, and always avoided any kind of confrontation. He'd go out of his way to not talk to someone if it meant he didn't have to answer questions. Imagine my shock when, 2 years after graduation, I catch up with him and find out he's in the Secret Service. Not presidential, but still up there. He's done good for himself, and I'm proud. Not high school, but my best friend's freshman roommate was a weird guy. Brilliant. Literally 1600 SAT scores, full ride, brilliant, but never really showered. He was dating the sweetest, kindest girl, who dumped him after 2 months of trying to get him to take better care of himself and actually go out and do anything. We'd try to get him to come out of his shell because he was pretty funny and we liked the guy. After not hearing from him for 15 years, we looked him up. Apparently he co-founded Revolve Clothing, is a multi-millionaire, and parties in Ibiza and stuff. I'm genuinely happy for the guy, but I never ever expected him to hit it big in fashion. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more videos like this. Don't forget to leave your stories in the comments below.